Welcome to our periodic capacity development sessions. My name's Daniel Nangelo. So today we'll be exploring analytical decision making, right, for gender-based violence programs and projects. And to help us with this case, we'll be utilizing the MIFUMI data monitoring and evaluation dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to start with just an overview of the different modifications, or rather updates, that we have implemented. And this is in an attempt to just make sure that the dashboard is more intuitive and user interactive. All right. So from our previous, if you remember our previous dashboard, you can see this is an upgrade. All right. So with us here, we have this introduction here. It gives the context to what the dashboard is all about. Okay. Now, we also have this map here. All right. It gives context to whatever we are reporting here. Where is it happening? All right. Some people like to call it where we work. All right. Feel free to suggest or decide what you can have here. For our case, we just left it out here. Now, we have very interactive icons here, rather command icons. These buttons here, they help us navigate, right? If you also see here, we have also another navigation button, right? So we've also introduced this interactive page navigator. Right, so instead of having it here lined up here like how websites do it, you can see here we have introduced an interactive page navigator that allows you to access the different pages within our data monitoring, evaluation, and learning system. Okay, so now just simply by clicking on any of these buttons, you'll navigate to the different components. All right, maybe we can start with the first one here. All right, so what you can see here, this is the main navigation page or center. All right, in here you get to access the different reports or dashboards based on the workflow of the organization. All right, so you can see here we have, from here we are able to access to the project indicator matrix. We have the advice center survivor tracking dashboard. We also have the helpline survivor tracking dashboard. We have also the shelter tracking dashboard. Now, you also have access to some of these icons here, shortcuts, but also you can also navigate to see the total elements within our monitoring and evaluation system. So you also have access to the result framework. These are some of the different indicators that are within here, or activities. So we have targeted awareness, prevention of SGBV, and response to elimination of SGBV. All right. So the buttons are very intuitive as they allow you navigate through the report. Okay. So by clicking on any of these, it allows you to navigate to the different elements within your report. For example, if we go to browse here, Advice Center, it takes you to the Advice Center components. And this has to do, only as the name suggests, it's tracking the different survivors coming from the survivor tracking tool. All right. So you can see we also have initially these were the different ways we would drill through our report, but because we had so many things, the report was too much squeezed. That's why we have introduced this interactive filter panel icon here that allows you to perform advanced filtering activities. All right. So from our last report that we had done, there was a number of recommendations. One of it was that our tool, we should be able to track our data on a daily basis, right? So one of the new modifications that we have is this period slicer here, right? So you can look at your data from yesterday, all right? So filtering this, it should be able to show you data from yesterday. If there's no data, then of course you'll see that nothing was registered on the system. That's why you do not see anything here. But once it starts coming in, you should be able to see it filtering here. And then also you can view like real-time data, right? By selecting today button here, okay? This also organizes your data. Don't worry because the data is not here, all right? But once it starts coming in, it should be able to organize itself. So you can work your way through into the 7 days, all right? If you have data within the last 7 days, it should be able to be actually processed through the dashboard here, right? So here we are using machine learning, all right? We have tailored our data model to really track and calculate the different indicators based on what we want it to do. So it seems like we don't have any data within the last 7 days. Let's see, the next one is 15 days. So we can look at 15 days. Now you can see our data spans we have multi-annual data, historical data. We had talked about historical data and how we are able to take advantage of that data to inform our decision-making processes. All right. So you can see still. So it means that within the last 15 days, there has been no activities. I don't know. Maybe for GBV violence, maybe you are. I don't know. It's a good thing, yes. If you have to end this, then the tracker here means that it's doing well. Let's look within the last 30 days. Okay, so within the last 30 days, you get to see that we have two cases or two survivors who have survived a case of gender-based violence, and the case was one is at the police, one was resolved. Let's move into maybe 60 days and see. All right, so within the last 60 days, these are the cases that have been reported. All right, so it has been categorized into the different stages of ongoing cases and closed cases. All right, so you can see within the ADR, you can see also within the police the different metrics based on how the cases have been registered. All right, so yeah, you can continue through that. We also have 90 days. You can see the number keeps changing based on how we are selecting to slice down this report. I'll go into maybe 120 days, and then you can even go into 6 months. All right, great, and then 1 year. Right, so this quickly allows you to timely data. We need real-time data. It allows you to work with your most current data, all right, but also you can dive into historical data. Now this also allows you to look at trends, all right, within and metrics within the last based on these periods. It informs you, it gives you real-time analytics of what is going on now. You can see on this part here, like we have a different also these tooltips. This allows you to quickly get an overview of what is happening. All right, you can see here the different performance based on how the cases are distributed. If we go here to ADR or even here to closed cases under mediation or at police, let's look at police. Okay, you can see it's able to reorganize that. So in terms of police, Mbale seems to be doing very well in terms of case completion or case performance. You can see it has more cases being resolved within the police station. All right, let's look at the ones that being reported. So Kalangala, you can see there leads in terms of cases that have been reported at the police. All right, so the other way you can drill down this is to right click, okay, and then you get this option here that says drill through. All right, so if I was interested, let's say for example, with these cases that are in court, or maybe the ones that are police, or the ones that are abandoned, all right, you can simply right click. Let me maybe pick the ones that are ongoing and are in court. All right, so we right click here, we get to get advanced drill through options. All right, so you get to access this option that says case list. All right, you also have advanced advice center case list. So let's just pick case list. Now this one will show you only those cases, all right, only those cases that are in court and are ongoing. Right, so it allows you in terms of retrieval. You can retrieve the different cases, you can track the different cases, and let's say you needed more information about a particular case. All right, you are able to come here and you can also search it by the filing officer. Okay, you can search here by filing officer. You can also, if you want to retrieve it by maybe the different geographic locations, you have here option for district and sub-county, right? Status of case, you also have it there. Of course, all these are ongoing, okay? So now let's drill down into each individual. Yes, I had mentioned that that our data model is being powered by AI, all right? So that's why we are getting to, benefit from most of these beautiful things, all right? So yes, let's drill maybe I'm more interested with this particular case here, all right? Here where we have 10 to 14 years, all right? In Kalangala, Mgoe, and it's ongoing, it's in court, registered during this date, all right? So you can also just right click, all right? Just, okay, it's here. All right, right click, go to drill through, and this time say case file details. Let's look at it. Great. So it gives you it retrieves sort of the entire case file. All right. So you get to see here, you have this case here. All right. So it says coming from Survivor Tracking Dashboard, July 2023, Kalangala District. All right, what is a case file ID? It's here. You can access the different information about this case in here. All right, there you have it. Great. I hope that was well understood. If there's something that is not clear, please review back the video to just get in tune with the navigation concepts that we have introduced. Okay, so I'll just go back. So these are the different elements. Okay, so for advice center, and this also goes for the different reports elements that we have in here. Okay, we have these buttons here. So this is the main page that introduces us to advice center. All right, and this is where, and also this goes for helpline, shelter, early warning system, and any of these navigation pages that you are able to see here. Right, the main page where you get or where you land, all right, will always have some extra navigation icons. All right, now if I wanted a quick overview of what is really just happening within the advice center survivor tracking tool, you go to survivor insights. All right. So just by clicking this survivor insight, you are able to access, all right, the insights based on the KPIs that we consider to be influential or important in terms of monitoring and evaluating our gender-based violence program and projects. So you get to see the different metrics in here. All right, you have survivors, you have physical violence, all right, you have sexual violence, psychological, economic, all right, ongoing cases and closed cases. All these updates as you go by, and then you get this drop down arrow here. Okay, so this drop down arrow here allows you to cross tabulate or to cross visualize your data and how it interacts with the other elements. All right, like here right now we are just having it by district, and you can see here it's doing it by district, but you can also look at it in terms of how many survivors based on maybe the physical violence. All right, so we pick physical violence, and you can see now you have access to the different types of physical violence and the different metrics. So you can see closed, ongoing. So you can just look at what is the case performance, and you can see and what are some of the areas we are still working on. All right, so feel free to switch in between the different elements that you see here. Let's look at sexual violence. You can see defilement leading to child marriage is the most common type of sexual violence. All right, and you can see it's like we are really struggling with this type of cases, because you can see there are so many cases that are still ongoing. All right, so but you can also drill this down by looking at the different let's maybe pick 6 months. All right, there, so you are able to also drill down based on the different elements. So for sexual violence, it tells you how many are in ADR, at police, in court, at RSA, and how many have been closed. Okay, yes, 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 yes. So we can also look at month over month. Okay, great. So for month over month, what is happening here is that you are comparing a history based on, let's say, if you're looking at all Januaries. So what has been the track for gender-based violence for all Januaries historically? Right, so you can see in January 2021, January 2022, all the way. So for some reason, the cases have been rising up since 2021 all the way to 2023, which seems to be the case because you can see in January 2024, still recorded a high, although there was a slight decline. Okay, so all this can also, you can also get an average for all Januaries. All right, so if you're maybe trying to look at occurrence, all right, or creating an early warning system, these are some of the things that we look at. Anyway, we'll talk about this in our expert training. So February, you can also switch into February. All right, you can switch into March. All right, you can switch into April, and you can see everything's also reorganizing to report on all this. Now please do not forget this, the drill down functionality is still active here. All right, so for every bar you see, you are able to go and look at case list. So you can look at which cases actually contributed to this matrix. All right, so if I wanted to look at Iganga and the ones that have already been closed, I can see which cases have contributed to that metric. So let's look. There, we get back to this one here, and you can see all these are the different cases that have contributed to that metric outcome. Okay, so I'll just switch back. All right, we'll switch back. All right. Now, we have this button here. This allows you to go or to access the main navigation window. All right. So at whatever point in your report, by clicking that home button, it will always take you that main button. It will always take you to this page here. Okay. So we can also look at the news. Okay. So you can see also here it has a different way that is also reporting on. Now, initially we had that filter buttons that were here, that filter bar that was here. What we have done currently is to introduce this real-time bar here, and then we have this filter panel here. This filter panel allows you to narrow down your report to your specific area of interest. Okay, like here under select district, you can come and say, I want to get to drill down my report to Iganga district. So you get to have that. Right. So right now it has organized this to Iganga district. Right. You can also say close it. All right. Just close it. It's going to maintain your filter. Don't worry about it. It will not. It will remember what you have picked. All right. So in here, I'll just say I want to see historical data, everything. All right, for Iganga. All right. So all of it is here. All right. You can decide now that you also maybe want to narrow down to year. Okay. You can pick the year 2023. Okay, and it will reorganize that for you. Now I want you to see what it does. Every visual here is working for you. All right, it's reorganizing based on how you are picking this. And yeah, you can see for Iganga. All right, so if you wanted to see everything, you can continue drilling down all the way. You can still come and change this at any time you feel. Like right now, I want to see only for the data for 2023. All right, so there it is. Okay. All right, now we have this new interface or this new feature here. It's AI powered. It's called a decomposition visuals, and what it usually does, its work is to help you break down your matrix. Right, so we have survivors, we have physical violence, sexual violence, we have psychological violence, economic violence cases, ongoing cases, and closed cases. Right, so it gives you a breakdown of how like it tells you where the contribution was coming from. Right, and this allows you to track your metric and even identify bottlenecks. Okay, so like for example, the first indicator or KPI we have here is the number of survivors. All right, you can have it here. All right, you can also switch this to the ongoing cases. All right, so it gives you the ongoing cases. All right, you can switch this to sexual violence, and it will reorganize to sexual violence. Now, how do we use this one? All right, the way we use this is we have this bar here. Right, just click on it. All right, you can see it will start giving you a story. Right, so it tells you out of this 613, this is how it has been subdivided. All right, this is how it has been subdivided. So if I was interested now at the status of the case, out of the 613, we have 435 that are ongoing and 178 that are closed. Let's look at this one here, ongoing. Let's have a breakdown. All right, so of these 435 that are ongoing, 323 are at police, 55 are in court, 22 are at RSA, and 20 are blank. I think this one they have not yet declared at what stage the case is. That's why you're seeing the blank. And then 15 at ADR. Right, now as you continue building this, you can see we have this focus mode icons here. Right? This allows you to really take advantage of the difference of your space. Okay, so there we can continue with this. So at police, all right, so this is ongoing. So if I come here at police under closed, so let's see, it should not say anything. That's why it's recording blank for closed. So this hierarchy will be extended up to this level here. All right, so it's still ongoing at police. All right, was there any type of referral that happened for any of these cases? Let's have a look. Yes, yes. All of these, all right, all of these were referred to the police, all right, although one was from the other end. So 267, we had 267 referrals to the police out of this ongoing. All right, let's look at what we have under. Okay, let's look at the entire thing. Okay, there. Let's break this down. So out of this, okay, we can break this down to the districts. All right, so let's look at the contribution of all ongoing cases that are at police. Iganga leads, all right, followed by Namaingo, and then we can let's look at the bottom one. Queen is the last. All right, so if pick Bugiri, we can look at in Bugiri what was the age range, right? So majority of the cases in Bugiri by age range were happened to be between 15 to 19 years, all right? And you can continue, right, to split your data. Okay, here we can go into gender. All right, let's look at how the gender has been split. So there you can see all of these cases were of the female gender. Let's look at 0 to 9. All of them are female. All of them are female. If I was interested to know what these cases were all about, we can split or we can drill down and then right click and say also drill through. We can access this case list. Okay, so that's our case list. All right, that's our case list. All right, now to go back, each of these I can say drill through and see the case file details. Now you can see this already a workflow of what we had seen. Now in accessing this case, I now get to understand that this was a case of defilement leading to child marriage. All right, and you can see for this single case, all right, for this single case, we had one that was, I think it's still the same case. So this should be a repeat case, all right? So you can see we had, it was first reported on 4th, and then again it was reported again, all right, on 19th. Okay, so it gives you a clear picture of what you have within your data, all right? So yeah, this might be a case of repetition, but of course we know our workflow also has accommodation for repeat cases. All right, so yeah, repeat in the sense that the violence has occurred again. not in the sense that the data is a duplicate. So we have false duplicates and true duplicates. This one has an explanation. Anyway, we can go back to where we were here just by clicking on this back arrow. It takes you back to where you were. Okay. This also goes for the different cases you see here. Okay. All right. So navigating to shelter tracking, you can also go to now advice center. Let's just quickly circle back to advice center. Now we have our advice center tracking tool. All right. So far, we've just been looking at the quick metrics and insights that can help us quickly make decisions. And then you can look at all the different elements or the cross-cutting issues that are within your data. All right. So this just gives me a preview of what my data looks like. I can switch in between the different indicators. All right. I can download based on survivor, physical violence, psychological. It's you to decide what type of report you want. So this allows you to be very specific with the type of report you want to generate. Okay, so just moving forward, we have this trend analysis, right, or temporal analysis, time series analysis. Let's maybe switch it here. Now, this also works as an early warning system, all right? So I've used averages, but we can also talk based on how your data looks like. If you have outliers, there are times you need to use averages and medians, all right? This one has factored that into consideration. So you can see if this is the number of survivors, this is the average, this is normal observation, all right? So if you're having more cases of gender-based survivors, it means that it can mean a number of things, all right? You can pair it with the activities that have happened in January, February, and see have our activities like our outreach activities, have they had an impact, right? So an impact could be that maybe a number of people are coming out to report on the different cases whereby they have been a victim of gender-based violence, right? So if maybe, let's say, something happened here, an outreach activity happened on March, then this is a very good indicator that the outcome was successful, because one of the ways you measure outreach is that you need to have an indicator, like what was the purpose of the outreach campaign was maybe to increase the number of gender-based violence coming up to access help, right, and services, care plan services, all right? So yes, now within the Power BI ecosystem, we can also set up an alert system, so that anytime we have an above outside the normal, we should be able to get an alert, a trigger alert. All right. So you can see all these. This is a warning system. Like in April here in 2023, things were really bad. Right? You can go ahead and decide you want to see how was it in 2024 and in 2023. All right? So you can see in 2024 that is the case. Let's look at 2022. That's how it looks like. And you can switch in between the different indicators here. All right, so we have physical violence. You can see for physical violence, it has a different trend from the number of survivors. Although you can see there, all right. As you are heading towards September, towards the end of the year, the number of gender-based physical violence have tended to reduce. And you can see this has also been witnessed for sexual violence and for psychological violence. Now, from our prehistoric data, uh, okay, you will want maybe to also look at the average, all right, the average for all the years. Okay, anyway, so let's look at ongoing cases, what have been the trend. All right, so let's maybe switch to there. So on average, on a normal month, I usually handle cases on 82 cases, all right, on an average month, all right, but this can also hike up or move down. Like you can see here, in April and May, there was an influx of cases, right? And then here in June, we had a decline, right? It was below par, right? We're going to see how this can also be communicated on a map, right? So that you identify, yes, we have an influx, all right? So which areas are these? Which areas are we looking at, all right? So this can also help you plan for the next April, all right? Yes, you can see here, although it seems that we haven't gotten any data for April, but it helps you to look at that, right? So you can work your way through the report. Okay, now here we now start looking at the individual fields within our advice center tracking database or tool. All right, so in here we are looking at a number of things at each individual field and how it's it's related to the different elements. So for a case here, I think we are having an active filter. So what you come here, okay, here, this filter pane, all right, just click on it. Now you can see, okay, it doesn't have anything. Great, there. So you can also view your data based on the different timelines. So if I was interested in 2023, I'll come here and pick 2023. Okay. Now, pick it, and then you can opt to continue interacting with your report with this one open, but in the case you want to print this or to access the different elements of your report, you can just simply close by clicking on that close button. All right, so let's maybe move forward, and you can see how the different elements have been leveraged in here. Okay, now the drill down capability is still here. Okay, the drill down capability is still here. For example, let's see. Okay, you can still drill down. Now, for example, you want to track the survivors whose case has worsened or has not changed. All right, you can come and drill it down, and let's say maybe you are interested with 2024. Okay, 2024 seems to be a very good year. Let's see what follow-up we can do. The ones whose cases did not change, right? Now, sometimes based on how many number of elements are here or items, the space may not be large enough for the different interactivity that we are looking for. So for that, don't worry about it, is to enlarge, all right? You enlarge, all right, so that you have access to more space. Now, I'm interested where these cases didn't got worse. All right, I might want to do some follow-up of these victims. All right, I might also want to understand the demographic profile of those whose cases worsened. So I'll say let's drill down to case list. Great. Now, based on your intervention, you will be able to identify the specific cases where the cases worsened. Let's look. We have one between 25 to 49 here, a group of between the age group of 25 to 49, about 50 years, and here. Let's look at this minor here, all right? I'll want to understand what's happening here. Case file details. Once again, our tool is here. All right, neglecting to provide food etc for child. Okay, there. Anyway, so based on how you can see who, okay, you can also see who was the filing officer or whatever, any other information that you have. Now for our case, we don't have the filing officer details here. All right. One of the things, as you're also reviewing this, you might also want to we're going to make this mandatory, the filing officer, so that we're able to identify cases by the filing officer. All right, great. So that's an overview of the different elements, okay, and how you can use this tool. All right, great. Now, a quick one under news. We can access the early warning system. Okay, so the early warning system is an interesting tool, really. Okay, I'll just maybe switch this to all years and see. All right, this allows me to predict or do predictive analysis. All right, now from our data, right, from the data that we are getting, cases of gender-based violence tend to become worse in May. They're worse in May. All right. So, if you look at your calendar, all right, one of the things you might want to do is how do you mitigate or raise awareness. So this is the time you want to really do your awareness, all right, or based on your different strategies in your projects or programs. Right? It also tells you of, it also identifies 3 other months, all right? That is July, all right, August, and March, all right? So you want to intensify your activities during this month. If your goal is to bring down the number of gender-based violence, you want to really put in more work during this month, and even in your calendar, work calendar, you want to dedicate time, all right, or resources and activities to this month if you want the incidences to come down. All right, so April seems to be a very good month for everyone in terms of gender cases of GBV. Right, we can also see during the last quarter of the year is usually a very peaceful period. Okay, yes, you can see September is down, 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 and even December. Okay, let's look in terms of physical violence. And this is based on the data from the previous 1 year. All right, if you wanted to look at everything, you can still do that. All right, you can look at everything. All right, like let's say I want to look at everything, so we can remove that filter, and in here we can pick 2022 there, in 2023, there. You can see also in 2023, the story is almost similar based on the total averages. Okay, we have here in 2022, you can see May is still a very sensitive month. Okay, we have July, August, and also April. The last quarter, very good quarter. Okay. Yes, let's look at also maybe 2022. Okay, 2022, the case, the first quarter seemed to be a very good quarter. Not really maybe for the this, all right, trimester, size a trimester. All right, let's look at 2024 there. All right, so January and March. Okay, yes. Now you can still, let me maybe take it to 2023, and then I'll just close this so that we have enough space. I'll look at sexual violence. Great, there you have it in 2023. Okay, you can see. So if I was doing a campaign against sexual violence, I want to put in my efforts in May. You can see in May, in April, in February, in March, in July. Okay. Yes. So that's your early warning system. And all this is part of the analytical decision making process. Here we are striving to make data-driven decisions, to make impactful decisions. All right. So yes, we have this table or data icon. All right. This allows you to go into to narrow down or to access the data that is powering this, or the data that is giving you all this. All right, like for example, you can move into the day of month here. Okay, I can say I want maybe to access 31st here, or maybe, yeah, 31st 15. So just click on it. All right, 15, and then click on this table here. All right, it's going to filter only those 15 cases and tell you which of those cases they were. All right, and then you can always close this and then navigate to where you love to navigate to. All right, yes. So those are the different functionalities that we have added, and more are coming. All right, and as they are coming in, we'll keep sending you this type of videos just to help you in your in the efforts to in your efforts to use this particular tool. All right, so the tool is still being modified. Once we are done, we should be able to notify you. But as it is with maintenance, it's something that doesn't end. It's something that's going to be continuous. So yes, we're going to have more of this. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you next time. I hope you learned something new today. Thank you. See you in my next video.